Very
Yeah,
easy
it's
question.
not.
So yeah, why is it so difficult for hardworking people to become financially all right? That's the question. And how much money do you need to be financially all right? I think the first part um, oh, is about identifying what is a hardworking person and what does being financially all right mean, because that's what I would probably do. Ordinarily, a hardworking person is assumed by society to be somebody who goes to work on time and leaves when all the work at work is done, and comes back home and takes care of their family responsibility, and is always busy trying to do something that improves their own lives. I think that's what people call a hardworking person. Someone who doesn't hesitate to um, dip their hands into dirty work and be able to bring something of value out of it. That's hard work. And it also insinuates the idea of working with your hands, working hard, sweating, and getting sweat equity, as people call it. That's what I think. Obviously, you can add whatever you think, But hardworking, that's that's the notion of hardworking. But I think that hard work does not necessarily mean financial savvy. Those things are too different. Someone can work very hard, even at work, in white collar or blue collar roles. If they are not financially savvy, what it means is that hard work itself does not necessarily translate to financial stability. Why? Because the two are not directly related. Uh, Hard work is about generating, is about putting effort into generating into an activity. Hard work is about putting work effort into generating an activity. But financial stability is about uh, being able to uh, save money and invest it in such a way that it helps you to not need to work at all. Uh, they are not directly related because, for example, someone can work hard, but they are not responsible with money. So you can get a hardworking person who is punctual at work. He goes the extra mile. But when it comes to handling his own money, that person can be really bad. So what do you expect? What do you expect from such a person? What you expect is that uh, hard work does not, in that particular case, will not translate to financial stability. That's why I'm saying those two are not directly related. That's so for you to be financially stable, you need both of them. You need hard work as well as financial stability and being financially savvy. In other words, thinking of things in addition to your job, which helps you generate more money and look after money responsibly. Treat money with respect and make sure whatever you get, you save. And you save as much as possible. Certainly, how much you save is going to be up to you, really, because the paycheck is yours. But if you are not saving money and investing the money that you save, then you don't expect it to grow. You don't expect it to be financially all right at the end of the day. Because financially all right, I translate it to mean being financially independent. When I mean financial independent is you are not worried about money each and every day. That's what I mean by financial independence. Which means you have enough money either from your investments that is generating passive income, which you don't need to actually go to work for. Either it could be coming from your investments, it will come whether you go to work or you don't. And that money is enough to pay your bills without you needing to go to work. That's what I call for being financially all right. But if you have to go to work for you to bring that money in the house, then you are not financially all right. You are very vulnerable to your job. So you cannot be really financially all right, because the moment you get sick, that income drops almost to zero. If you are not, if you can't go to work, if you're not working, obviously there's no money for you in that particular case. That's not being financially all right. So being a hard worker itself, it's a good virtue, but it's not, does not directly translate or directly mean that you will be responsible with money. There are some people who earn a lot of money, but they spend equally as much. They're always borrowing. You wonder, but this person earns more money than so and so on, but they're always borrowing. Obviously, nowadays people are not borrowing from individuals; they are borrowing from credit companies. They have a credit card from this company. They have a credit card from another. They are on buy now pay later. They bought a house on a mortgage. They have a car on a loan, and so on and so forth. So they've exhausted all the loans. So in that particular case, they might be earning a lot of money, but equally they are also spending hard, because they live to gratify or to satisfy their needs at the particular time. So the second part of the question says, how much, do you want to add anything before I move on to the second part? Maybe you...
I think you go ahead and I'll add my point. Yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying if you have any points to add.
Yeah, I think you pretty much summarized it quite well. This is a pretty difficult question to answer, because I was trying to reading the question make me wonder, am I falling into that hardworking but not financially all right category? But being a finance person, I'd like to introduce like two concepts. One of them is cash flow, and the other one is equity, or you can call it like net wealth. When it comes to cash flow, it's pretty simple. It's how much you earn and how much you spend. So if you are earning like a decent paying job, then you on a monthly basis, you have that money coming in. But then also it's important to figure out how much expenditure that you have to spend when it comes to your basic needs, like your rent, your mortgage, your utility bills, your food, etc. And if you're in a fortunate position where a lot of them has already been taken care for you, then you really just need to figure out how to increase that cash flow coming in. So that's like two concepts. So sometimes, say for example, you bring in the cash or the money on a fortnightly basis can make you feel quite financially well off on the payday, for example. I don't know if that makes sense. But then on the other hand, for net wealth, it's basically how much you own less how much you owe to other people. So like your asset minus your liability. For example, if you don't have any debt, then your liability will be zero, right? So basically whatever you have in your bank account is everything that you own. So I think financial aura is very different depending on different people. So you can have someone who is like $1 million in net equity or net wealth, but then they are cash poor. Or you can have someone who's like have a lot of cash flow, money coming in, but then also on the other hand, have a lot of expenditure that you just can't avoid. So I think it's important to ask yourself what does financial all right mean for you, and then list out all of the things that you think that's important to you, and then see how you can work towards that. Not necessarily working hard, not saying that working hard doesn't matter, but figure out a way that works best for you. All right, your turn, Ernest.
Thanks. Yeah, I think Jero has pointed out an important point as well, that how much is enough for a person. I think it actually answers part of the second question, which says how much is enough for a person. It all depends. I think, like Jero has said, it will depend on a number of things. For example, first, your lifestyle, the lifestyle that you want to choose or you choose to live is important, because it drives costs. If you want to live a simple life, we expect that the cost might be also less. If you want to live a more expensive life or a flamboyant life, the cost will be also high. So that will also mean that if you need to decide how much money you need for your life based on the lifestyle that you want to live. If you want to live a basic life, then your cost, your investment, or your investment amount will be less, because obviously for you to generate ongoing income, you need to have a source of passive income, which comes whether you go to work or you don't. But to do that, you need to have put money aside. And how much money you're going to put aside will determine the lifestyle that you're going to lead. So there are many methods of estimating how much money is enough for a person. For example, some people say you could multiply the remainder of your life by 25 years. So take your annual expenses, multiply that by the remainder of your life. Obviously, what is the remainder of your life will differ. How many years do you expect to live? If I say I want to live up to 96 years, for example, I would then say my number of years minus 9 from 96. If that is maybe 50 years, for example, that would mean I would take 50 years, multiply by my expected annual expenses for those 50 years. Say if I want to spend every year 120,000, so I would then say 50 years times 120,000 per year. That would be the money that I need to invest to be able to be financially all right. There are different other methods. Some people could also use the superannuation guarantee fund. It is some guidance on how much money you need to retire or to live well in Australia, for example. So you could use guidance from those places. You could use guidance from different other places. Other authors also say that you could take your annual income that you want to have and divide that by 0.4 by 4%. Whatever answer you get, that is amount of money that is the minimum amount of money that you need to be financially all right. But I think the key thing is not the number. The key thing is the lifestyle choice that you are going to make. What type of life are you going to lead? Is it going to be filled with activity, travel, and a lot of other things? If that is the case, then you need to consider all those expenses you are going to incur to live that lifestyle. But if you're going to live a simple life, then you just need to identify what your expenses would be. Then calculate what investment you need based on those expenses. So there are many methods of calculating what's financially all right or how much money you actually need for the rest of your life. It will depend. It will depend primarily on your lifestyle choices and what you see as a risk and what you see as the critical things that would make your life happy or that would make you the way live the way you like to live, because life is personal. People choose every day whatever they want in their life. Life is, to some extent, life is free, but to some extent also life is very personal. People decide what they want to do every day. So nobody really is going to tell you how much money you need, because what you need in one instance for one person might be totally different from what is needed by another person who's just thinking of a different lifestyle. So even if people are born in the same family, they might choose totally different lifestyles. So it's not a question of where you come from. It's a question of what you want to do. I've seen people who have been running companies, sold those companies, and decided to go and live a very basic life. And they have no hope of finishing the money that they actually generated during their working life. But the lifestyle they choose is so basic, and they don't have so many expenses. So in that particular case, that person has a lot of money than they need. So the question is that the right way to do it? Do you have to work hard to get a lot of money and then only to live on a basic lifestyle? Others are yearning for an opportunity when they can raise a big amount, and then they can go out, leave work and go and travel. Maybe do other things like climbing Mount Everest and so on and so forth. And eventually they fail to raise that big amount of money. So personal choices are the drivers here. I don't know whether a general answer would be sufficient, but what I think is that you need to itemize and identify what your future is going to look like. If you can paint your picture today of your future, paint a picture of you in the future today, and say, this is me maybe 50 years from now. This is the lifestyle I want to live. If you're going to paint a mansion there, then we know how much money you're talking about. But if you're going to paint a lifestyle, a basic lifestyle, then we kind of know how much you have at your heart. So the answer lies with you, with an individual, or every individual, to decide how much money is sufficient for them. It's not general. There's no one who will give anyone an answer that is sufficient, because lifestyles are personal. Cheryl?
Well, I think you summarized it quite well. And I agree with what you said about how much you need to live without working. It comes down to what's your expectations of the lifestyle that you want to live. And then one of the good things that you might want to do is to reverse engineer. So once you know this is the picture that you want to live, and then you reverse that back to work out, okay, this is how much I need per year, I'm going to achieve that, etc. Just break down into like smaller actionable steps to help you reach that. Okay, thank you.
All right. Yeah, I think we will just have no other questions to other points